This is our presentation on religion and law in Ecuador.
Religion is defined as the belief in and worship of a superhuman power or powers, especially a god or gods, or a particular system of faith or worship.
94% of people in Ecuador are Roman Catholic, which was introduced into the country when the Spanish took over. When Catholicism was first introduced into Ecuador, it contributed to the society by building schools and providing care for the poor. The Catholic bishops aided in social changes like literacy campaigns and the distribution of land for the deprived Indian people. With this also came conflict between the church and the government on the social and political side of things.
I actually asked my host sister some questions. Her name is Carla, and she is a lawyer, and I wanted to get her opinion on whether or not she believed that law and religion are connected. This is what she had to say.
Sí, sí están conectadas, porque a pesar de que Ecuador es ahora un país laico y que podemos profesar cualquier religión, pero hay muchas cosas que sí están conectadas la religión con las leyes.
After learning that she did in fact believe that law and religion were connected in Ecuador, I proceeded to ask her to go into more depth and detail as to why she thought this way.
Creo que sí ha influenciado la religión un poco en mi carrera, ya que, para ser abogado tenemos que fomentar buenos principios como ser honestos, decir la verdad, buscar la justicia, que son cosas que a la final también son principios que en los que se basa la religión católica, y creo que en general todas las religiones buscan eso. Entonces sí.
This is my host's mother's opinion on the relation between religion and law. My host's mother's name is Sandra. She is in her 50s and was born and raised in Ecuador and was raised Catholic her whole life.
Ya, como te dije, tenemos leyes, ¿ya? Como es aquí en nuestro país. Tenemos la Constitución, tenemos leyes y todo. Pero todo se fundamenta, todo hay fundamento que tenga que ver con la Biblia. Claro, nosotros tenemos los 10 mandamientos. Como católicos tenemos los 10 mandamientos de la ley de Dios que nos dio y están registrados en la Biblia. Uh-huh. Ya. Y esos 10 mandamientos se involucran directamente a las leyes terrenales. Uh-huh. No te olvides que las leyes de la Biblia son las leyes de Dios. Y como país, nosotros como ecuatorianos tenemos leyes que cumplir aquí en la tierra, con la Constitución, con el país, que están impuestas, pero tienen mucho que ver lo uno con otro. Uh-huh. Sí, mucha relación.
Esto preguntas.
Based on the Ecuadorians' perspective, I think we can agree that Ecuador definitely ties law and religion, whether it be the good principles and morals a lawyer has to have in his or her career, or the commandments of the country tying closely with the commandments of the Bible. Here in Ecuador, they go hand in hand. You just won't have one without the other.
Now that we have heard some opinions from Ecuadorians, let's talk about the bad that can occur from mixing religion and race. If you remember during one of our lectures, Christian discussed Pablo Palacio. He talked about how in Ecuador, a man was once allowed to kill his own wife. This was a law based on religion that isn't very godly at all.
However, basing their government on religion isn't all bad. According to the article that you see below, wild animals have gained rights due to a monkey named Estrella. Estrella lived with her owner for 18 years until being caught. The Ecuadorian government placed Estrella in a zoo, to which she only survived a month. This occurrence sparked controversy and eventually led to the Constitutional Court ruling that wild animals be given rights as well.
This new law was a big achievement for Ecuador, and it goes right in hand with the Bible. The quote says, "Who knoweth not in all these that the hand of the Lord hath wrought this, in whose hands is the soul of every living thing and the breath of all mankind." This basically means we shouldn't be cruel to animals.
Now let's talk about the United States.
As you probably know, the First Amendment of the United States is the freedom of religion. So the forefathers made note to separate the church from the state. They believe government could infringe on the First Amendment's freedom of religion. The First Amendment reads, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. However, today government and religion often mix in the United States.
In America, religion and law have been combined together as a way to rule over the citizens. An example in history of this dates back to what is known as the Salem witch trials, which took place from 1692 to 1693. No, the people accused weren't actually witches, they were the accused. This all started when 3 young women whom were associated with the church fell ill. They were then diagnosed with being bewitched by a doctor. Later on, the pastor's daughter fell ill as well. These girls accused 3 social outcasts, one being Tasia, who was a slave. This caused a mass hysteria where people then started accusing their neighbors or people they didn't like as witches. If you were accused, you were hung, drowned, or pressed to death. These events being led by the church because most people were religious. There was rarely any trials that went, and those who were accused were beaten and left to die in the cells. Accusing then became known as a way to get your neighbor's land, in which they started doing trials. 200 were accused and 20 were killed.
Although the U.S. tries to separate law and religion, it definitely came to use in abolishing slavery. Slavery took place from 1619 to about 1860. Due to the influence of religion, it was eventually banned in the 13th Amendment of the Constitution, which says, "Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction."
This was our presentation on religion and law in Ecuador with comparisons to the United States. Through the video we took you with us through the streets of Cuenca and to the inside of the old church in the park. We hope you enjoyed.